Joining us right now is Munster. He's managing partner of Deepwater Asset Management. How much of a gaffe was that? The stock did move lower. Should it have?
Probably not as much. I mean, when I think of those kind of gaffes, I think of Tesla, Cybertruck, Elon Musk throwing that rock through it. It kind of had that kind of screeching effect, but ultimately he was able to vector that into a positive direction. It's more difficult for Google to do that here. There was another layer to the sell-off in shares yesterday, which was Microsoft's comments that they're going to go after search, and that was a nicely profitable business. And I think the combination of the first negative read on how Google is doing with Bard, along with that comment about the excitement that Microsoft has around Bing, I think pushed shares down. I think it was an overreaction. I think it was an overreaction because when we think about AI, this is a multi-decade endeavor. And we're talking about something that has really been forefront to investors and consumers since last November. And so to make a decision that Google is been negatively or is behind the curve based on a demo, I think is a little bit premature. I would add one vector or one piece that's just really surprising about the whole conversation around Microsoft and AI and Google is that Google has invested far more into AI than Microsoft. In 2017, Google changed their mantra from organizing the world's information to being an AI-first company. They talked so much about AI and machine learning. We used to do a buzz game bingo on their earnings calls and count the number of times that they would reference it, 17, 25 times in that range. But my point in saying that is Google is not to be counted out when it comes to this AI race.
Well, what do you think this ultimately looks like? And the reason I ask is Google's success thus far and the way search that as we've known it so far has been to link out, right, to link to other places. And that created an ecosystem for the entire internet. And ChatGPT, at least as we've seen it today, is effectively a one-way closed system. You ask a question, it actually gives you an answer. Don't know if you think it's the answer, but it's an answer. But it's not an answer that then has a sort of choose your own adventure or options or other ways to get to places to go see whether that answer is right or wrong or what other things you might want to know. And how you think that changes the broader dynamic around the internet if that becomes the norm, or does it?
Well, what probably is going to become the norm is you're going to have an option, and Bing has experimented this, and Google has talked a little bit about this too, but to have kind of the quick answer, the GTP chat type of an answer, something that is very clear, but not necessarily backed up with citations. And then separately, they will have kind of further questions to further drill down so you can make sure that you find what you want. I don't think we're going to get to a place where that search is going to be you enter a query and there is this omnipresent answer that you can lean on. I think that there will.